On the left-hand side of the screen, you've got an unbalanced wheel set. And on the right-hand side of the screen, we've got a balanced wheel set. Maybe you've noticed that when you've been working on a bike in your work stand, does the wheel try and rotate by itself, or are you noticing a hop in the wheel when the wheel's spun up? Or when you're out riding, do you feel a vibration through the bike at high speed, even if you're on a smooth trail? And if you're prone to a bit of airtime, do you feel those wheels just pulling you just off axis in mid-air? I know our wheels aren't exactly square, and I know we also do have dampers that take up some of those unwanted feedback vibrations through the bike, but wouldn't having perfectly balanced wheels make our ride better? Well, let's find out. So our lycra-clad counterparts at GCN discussed this recently, but to us dirty mountain bikers, I think there is an advantage to having balanced wheels. I mean, multiple world downhill champion Loic Bruni is known to run balanced wheels on his race bike, and so does two-time Olympic champ Tom Pidcock, and those guys know what they're doing. So there's a justified application of this at the two extreme ends of our sport, so why is it not commonplace for us sort of in the middle, us mortals, to be doing it? So yes, less vibration and less oscillations through the bike surely will improve ride feel. And then by reducing that unwanted feedback through the bike, you, the rider, can concentrate on just razzing down the trail a bit more. But aren't wheels balanced out the box? Well, a lot of times they are. It's just once you've added a rotor, a cassette, a tyre, an insert, a valve, and potentially a speed magnet on an e-bike, that can throw off the balance massively. But there are so many variants in those parts I just listed off. Any wheel manufacturer would be here beyond the end of time, testing and balancing to fit those. And even then, on the tightest manufacturing lines, you are going to get subtle tolerance differences. So each wheel, each tyre that comes off may differ from the next, even if it's in the same product line. Like I've said in manufacturing, no matter how fine the tolerances on the production line are, you are going to get minute finish differences. So be it excess resin or non-uniform carbon layup. Tyres too, again, they use a mould, and yes, it will be the same mould for one tyre, the next tyre, the one after that. But you might get excess material, or the tread might be slightly misaligned from one to the other. So unfortunately, every time you change your tyre, even if it's like for like, you're going to have to rebalance that wheel. Soz. So yes, now we've got our desired wheel setup. Today we're running FSA i30 carbon wheels, Vittoria Mazza Enduro 29 by 2.6, Vittoria Airliners in the downhill flavour, PT's tubeless valves, PT's rim tape, Galfa Shark 203mm rotors, and for now, no sealant. That's right, for now, the inside of the tyre is actually drive sealant. Now this is because it's a liquid, so as you rotate the wheel, yes, it will coat the outside, but as it comes to a stop, it will all pool up at the bottom of the wheel, causing an imbalance. So when we're moving it slowly in the stand, it will just keep moving round and pooling up at the bottom. So once I'm happy the wheels are balanced, I'll be injecting sealant through the valve. But on the note of sealant as well, it's worth just keeping in mind you want to keep the sealant fresh, because otherwise, as it dries up, it will clump up in one part of the tyre, causing another imbalance. So how do we go about balancing said wheel? So you could do it in your bike. However, I've opted to use a jig because it's just a better working height for me. So with this jig, I want as little lateral pressure on the hub bearings as possible so the wheel can spin as freely as possible. There are specific balancing jigs, so if you have followed Dr. Bridgewood's guide on how to balance the wheels, you'll notice he has got a specific jig from Legend Wheels with lasers and glass bearings, so yeah, the wheel can rotate nice and freely. But today, I'll be using the Park Tool TS 4.2 truing stand with the axle adapter in, just wound, just nipped up. So just for transparency, most of this setup here, I think bar the cassette, is box fresh, so in the case of the wheel, there's currently no wear on the bearings at all. So today, I'm going to be using a self-adhesive lead tape that sticks nicely to the outside of the rim just here. Now there are solutions that are a little bit more sort of integrated, where you get a little weight that sits inside the spoke holes around the rim. The only thing with this is you need to strip the setup back to the point of having to retape the rim. So if you are running inserts and downhill case tyres, this can be a little bit of a mission. And then when you are putting things back on, everything has to go back in exactly the same way as it was in the jig when you were balancing, for the whole process to pay off. Now can you see why this doesn't happen all the time? So that's why I'm going to neatly stick these weights to the rim. Now, it has been known with the riggers of downhill for these weights to go walkies, and mechanics have to rebalance the wheels between runs. And on the note of the sticky tape, I've worked out that 33 mil of this is a gram. So we've got gram increments, I can cut them down, I can put multiples, I can stack them, and that's how we're going to balance the wheel today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the valve up there and just see how it rotates by itself. So you can see it's slowly moving. I'm going to try it at 90 degrees. See how that goes. Cool. So unsurprisingly, the heavy spot in the wheel is where the valve is. So I'm going to start by putting maybe a couple of grams of weight just opposite it here. We're going to see how it sits now and where the valve is. And I'm going to go dead opposite that low spot there. So we're going to be right under the gradient logo just there. Now there are slightly neater kits than this, but what this is self-adhesive golf club weight basically. And I've measured it out and cut it, like I say, in two 33 mil lengths, which is a gram. So there's one. I think we're going to need at least a second one in that spot. Stack it on top of it. Cool. Right, now I'm going to put that valve back in that 90 degree position and see what happens now. So ideally that would stay in the same spot, that valve, and not move. So we've still got a little bits of balancing to do. So I'm going to stack these up, and when I'm happy the wheel's balanced, I'm just going to write on top of them how many weights I've put on. So we're currently at 4 grams in this spot, and I've currently got 1 gram by itself just under the FSA logo. Yeah, so slightly more controlled on the way down, so we're getting there. So one thing to bear in mind, as you are doing this, you can actually create imbalances elsewhere in the wheel. Again, this is a job to do when you've got plenty of time on your hands, so don't be doing it the night before you plan on going riding. So we're currently at 7 grams total, near enough opposite the valve. Better. We keep going. Let's go all out, put another 5 grams on. Yeah. Hello. Of course, we're going to try it that way, and then we're going to try it that way. A little bit. Maybe a smidge more under the gradient logo, but otherwise, that's almost bang on. Nice. So we've currently got 6 grams of weight under the gradient logo, I think 5 under the FSA one just there. With the valve at 90 degrees. Not budging. Try the other side. Oh. No. I'd say that's balanced. Let's go. Before I get too excited though, I'm going to pop this back in the bike and just do that test again where I spin the wheel up and see if there is any hop. Cool, so that's the rear wheel balanced. I'm going to get on with the front one. Now I'm actually interested to see if this uses as much weight or maybe a little bit less. I've still got a fair bit left, but my thinking is there's less going on. We haven't got a cassette, we haven't got an insert in the front wheel, so what's it going to take? Right, so that actually took less time than I thought it would, but I'm happy to say both wheels are now balanced. So what I'm going to do, I'll grab my Park Tool syringe and inject some sealant through the valve core, get these ready to roll, and then let's go to the woods for an experiment. So I've come to our local trails for an experiment in balanced versus unbalanced. I've got 2 sets of identical wheels, identical in make, model, tyre choice, insert choice, sealant amount, rotors, cassette, everything you could think of. We're going to ride a bit of tech and rack up some air miles to see if having balanced wheels is beneficial or not in both riding scenarios. I could make it through this jump line, but it would take all my concentration and you wouldn't get the feedback you want. So I'm going to tag in Ferg, who's going to make this look cool. Here is the man now.
What's up, Adam?
Right,
how's it going? One of them.
Let's go.
So, what's the game plan today?
So we've got the balanced set of wheels, are balanced in the set, and we've got an unbalanced set as well. So since the weights are stuck to the outside of the wheel, it kind of be obvious which one's which visually. So what I've done is I've put a set of dummy weights on the unbalanced wheel. Okay. Covered them over, and then I've also covered over the weights on the balanced wheels. Ooh. So it's up to ride feel and you to determine which one's which.
So I gotta work it out?
Yeah.
Mega, right.
Let's go.
Let's hit some jumps.
Yo! Nice. Yo! How was that?
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah?
Yeah, loved it.
I mean, absolute day for it. But what do you think about the wheels?
I would say that they're riding really, really well.
Yep.
But when I am in the air, I can notice that there is a slight murmur.
Okay.
Best description for that would be as it rotates, the weight is kind of pulling the tyres, so it's oscillating, so I'm getting that feedback through my bars as I go through the air.
Okay.
It's not super noticeable, but yeah, definitely on those sort of lower two jumps, you can notice it as you kind of turn the bars through and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, you can start to feel it. So my inkling is that these might be the unbalanced set, but I want to try those out first, and then we'll see. Big risk, I don't know, but I'm excited to try them out.
Sweet. Right. Pit stop time. Let's go.
Let's do it. Right, so that's the wheels all switched over. I'm going to head back up, do another couple of hits and see how these ones feel.
He's back.
Yeah.
Right, what do you think?
So, I think that these are the balance wheels.
Interesting. Okay.
My reasoning for that is when I hit the tech and the jumps, I noticed that on the tech, these wheels felt like they rolled freer. Yep. They were kind of rolling more evenly and more balanced. So when I was picking up over roots and things, it just felt a lot lighter to do that. Yep. I'd say the biggest sort of difference you can notice with these, if I am correct, is when you hit the jumps. So when you hit the jumps, the other wheel set to me felt like there was a murmur and an oscillation. I was just getting this kind of vibration through the bars, especially as I turned the bars through. It feels like you're fighting sort of a counterweight. Yep. With these wheels, when I was turning it through, it's just a really light feel and feels like you can kind of just maneuver the bike much easier. And in the air, I just wasn't getting any of that feedback. It was just very, very smooth. That's my feeling. I hope I still have it. Yep. But yeah, put me out of my misery.
Well, I can confirm you are right. Oh. So the first set of wheels were the unbalanced set, and the second set you're currently on are the balanced set. So rather successfully then, I've managed to balance this wheel.
You have, yes.
And you have picked up on that wonderfully.
So obviously that's what I've experienced based on feel, but how does that work in the science side of things? So
what we've done now is we've evenly distributed the mass around the wheel. So before you may have had that heavy spot. So we found in the stand it was sort of just around where the valve is. Yep. So most of the weights are stuck sort of almost dead opposite it. So that's offset that. So instead of getting that hop now in the air like you did on the unbalanced set, it's now perfectly smooth, rotates perfectly. But it is worth mentioning that this can be very course dependent and very weather dependent as well. So if you are riding a really muddy track, you could potentially throw the balance off completely by the time you've reached the first corner. If you've got like a clog or build up of mud on your tyre, that's going to cause an imbalance.
So it's worth, if you're racing, it's 100%, anyone who says any different, it's 100% worth cleaning your bike just for wheel balancing alone. But it is definitely a marginal gain in the
100%.
sense of once you've dropped into probably the first 100 meters of trail, you're going to have thrown the balance off if it's wet.
And if you're the sort of person that hits corners hard enough to rip lugs off, that's going to throw the balance off as well. So yeah, it's kind of marginal gain. So if you have got a pro mechanic with you, go for it. If you're doing this by yourself and you're changing tyres all the time like we are, maybe not. But is this something you want to run on your bike? Let us know down in the comments. He's Ferg, I'm Adam, this is GMBN Tech. We're going to do some laps. See you soon.
In a bit.